The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And this is Andy, and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
The absolute worst!
Okay, so real quick before we get started, then we'll remind people again that we are doing the third Basically a Lounge report. And we now have a phone number for you to call and leave a message. Okay. That phone number is 386-385-8139. Once again, 386-385-8139. You call that, leave a message. Andy will edit the messages accordingly and call up and say whatever you want. We'll take it from there. So there you go. Basically, a Lounge Report 3. We still haven't really kind of nailed down a date yet, have we? Because I'd like to give the listeners about 2 weeks to get all the calls in. So today is what, the 27th, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what would 2 weeks from today be? Like the 35th or something like that?
It'd be like the 10th or something like that. August 10th or so. August 10th. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was a little slow to the draw on getting the thread up on the boards too. So let's give them a little time. So August 10th work for everybody?
So are we recording? Yeah. Are we recording August 10th, or is that the deadline for?
We will record on August 10th. So
okay.
Deadline for phone calls will be, Andy, you tell me because you got to do the editing and stuff.
I mean, ideally it would be like the 7th or the 8th. And
okay, so we'll make it cut off as August 7th for the phone calls.
Okay.
Will that work?
Yep.
That gives us plenty of time. And I could probably help with the edits too. I mean, I know that you probably have a better system set up to pull them from the internet and record them than I do. I don't know how I'd have to go about that at this point, but I've never gotten a message on it, so we don't know yet. But we will work on that. But anyway, one more time, the phone number for Basically a Lounge Report 3 is 386-385-8139. Give us a call, ask us questions. It's a CCSLC exclusive or anything else you want to bring up too, but really this is aimed entirely at the sportslogos.net community. So all board stuff all the time, that's fine. Let us know what you think, what you want to talk about, who you want to talk about, and we'll have a lot of fun with it. We hope.
Yeah.
So far
who
we're
knows?
one for two with these things. So we'll see how this one works out. Third time's a charm.
By then we may have literally nothing else to talk about because the whole sports thing could not exist by then. Who knows?
Like I mean, it's so bizarre that we're recording on Monday night, and by the time this is published, the entire spectrum may be reversed. Like there may be, we may have. I mean, for anybody who doesn't really understand what we're talking about, I'm sure people listening do. The Marlins essentially got their entire franchise infected over the period of like 3 days because they're morons, and they potentially
11 players,
and 3
staff,
2
right? Coaches.
Good job, cheater.
Supposedly, I guess, based on what I was listening to earlier from Buster Olney on ESPN, it sounded like they might have got it in Atlanta when they were doing one of those warm-up games. So this not only affects the Marlins and the Phillies, who they were playing over the weekend, but it could potentially have got passed on to the Atlanta Braves, who they were playing in those preseason games. And luckily, the Orioles never came down for the actual game in Miami yet, I don't think. So, but either way, these Orioles Marlins series is all whacked up. These Yankees Phillies games in Philly are postponed because they can't use the visiting clubhouse. Oh, and the NFL camps are supposed to open this week, but let's see, who would be in charge of keeping control of an infection in NFL camp? Would it be the infection control officer? If that's the case, well, the infection control officer for the Minnesota Vikings tested positive for the infection that he's trying to control going into the camp. So good job there.
I don't want to say I told you so to anybody, but we talked about this back before there was even a plan to do anything. And I kept saying, what do you do when one team becomes infected? Well, now we're about to find out, because as you can see, this one team has far-reaching effects. I put an animated GIF up on the boards of a bowling ball hitting a bunch of bowling pins, and that's basically what this is. You've got the Marlins, and like Mike said, good job, Jeter, way to go. You've really made that franchise one to emulate. But they've now affected the Phillies, by extension the Yankees, and possibly the Braves. And then you got who did the Braves play over the weekend? Because you see what I mean? How this thing just like all of a sudden. And this is why I've been preaching it from day one. Just forget it and let's try it again next year. There's no good to come from this. None. You're going to get championships with an asterisk. You're going to get, bullshit, empty stadiums. And it's just, do people, here's my question to you guys. Did you even really want this? I mean, give me a percentage, like 60% wanted, 40% didn't. You know what I mean? Like, how badly did you want to see this happen?
Well,
I wanted sports to come back, right?
Yeah,
I wanted to watch games, but look, MLB had an option here. They could have done the bubble like the NBA did and has been successful with. They could have done all these other leagues that have done the bubbles. Whether it's the NWSL Women's Soccer League, they didn't have any positive tests over the course of their tournament. MLS, they had 2 teams test positive early on. They kicked them out right away, and then no positive tests after that. The NBA has been clean. NHL has been clean. And the MLB is the only one so far that said, no, we're going to put everybody in their normal cities and just fly them around everywhere like normal. Well, now you see where when you have a team that's going in and out of the hotbed that is Florida, you're going to run this risk. And they had the option early on. There was that plan that said they wanted to do kind of like a bubble environment in Phoenix with all the spring training facilities and just play there. It's easy to say that now kind of retrospectively, but I kind of thought all along that if you're going to do it, that's what you have to do. This idea that they were going to try to go through this unscathed normally, essentially, because if you're not going to have any fans, what the hell's the matter where the hell you play the games? But they wanted to go for it like this, and now we're going to see how they handle it. As far as doing anything beyond postponing these games, I don't know what the next steps are. I don't know what MLB has said. I'm watching a interview on mute of Rob Manfred, but I don't trust him to lead this thing into any sort of
and we don't know yet with in fairness to baseball, and my thought was, okay, you can do the play in your own city thing as long as you're very careful about it, because let's be honest about it, people are flying every day all over the country. Now, I don't know what effect that's having on the virus itself as far as spread goes, but you're not hearing, oh my God, flight 107 from Buffalo to Orlando or whatever. You know what I mean? So somewhere along the way, and I think that this is really can apply to the entire country, the entire world. You've got to take personal responsibility, and I'm wondering, you've got young baseball players, and you're in Miami. I'm wondering if this wasn't so much on the fault of baseball as so much as it was on like these guys are like, yeah, we got nothing to worry about. Let's go to the club on South Beach. And I'm not making any accusations or anything. I'm just saying that there are a million variables here, and we don't know any of them, or we know a lot of them, but we don't know what it could be. So the playing in your home stadium thing with no fans, if done correctly, could have been done. But, we don't know if the bubble's going to work yet, because like we've pointed out, the bubble isn't exactly a bubble. It's kind of a bubble, which if it's mostly a bubble, it's not a bubble, I guess is my point. So we don't know where this is going to go.
But it's not necessarily the flying part that's the problem, Greg, though. It's when normal people go to fly, there's a lot of these states that have these quarantine rules in effect. Like if you go, if I wanted to go from California to New York, I wouldn't be able to do anything for 14 days.
Yeah, same here.
And these baseball teams, it's not the same thing, obviously. Like the flying around isn't the problem. It's the fact that they don't arrive somewhere and then wait 2 weeks before they play the game. They're playing the game and going in and out. So they could be transferring it around before they even know what the hell's going on.
That's true. Anyway, but I think that my point was simply that this has been a bad idea and a tough needle to thread from the start for every league. Now, if you pull it off, great. NASCAR seems to have pulled it off, and golf seems to have pulled it off. But those are very solitary sports. Like you've got the driver who's, in NASCAR, he's in the car by himself. Golf, you're playing by yourself or with your caddy at the most. There's no fans. But baseball is trickier. And now we're going to get to see what it's going to be like with full contact sports like hockey and the NBA. And we still got the NFL basically in fuck you, we're the NFL mode. So
I have breaking news, by the way, for you guys.
Uh-oh.
So an anonymous Marlins player came out to, I believe it was Ken Rosenthal, this is via The Athletic, and said that they arrived at a conclusion. The conclusion was, quote, probably should not have played yesterday, unquote. Okay, so that's, at least they're coming forward. These are the same gaggle of idiots that consulted a fucking shortstop to determine whether or not they should play the other day, knowing that there was a blatant outbreak within the locker room.
Yeah.
So that's what bothers me, is that we've discussed how, when we had this little smattering of this over the weekend with the Nationals, and then suddenly today it's like a full-blown spread. And when you trace this back, it's because you had, one, a failure of responsibility of the roster, which is to be expected. All these Rob macho jagoffs just, we never quit, man. We're going to get out there and ball hard every day. And then you've got Don Mattingly, who clearly doesn't give a shit, and it's just like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to tell my boys, no, they're going to get out there and play baseball. And then you have nobody.
They're not going to win anything. What the fuck's the point?
Right? They're not playing. They're not playing in front of anybody anyway. It's like game 2 or 3. I can't remember how many games there are. Game 3, game 4 now of a 60-game season. Yeah. And who gives a shit? Like this is not the time to rev up with the locker room talk. Like, yeah, we got half the roster with coronavirus, boys. This may be our last game of the season, so let's go out there and infect another team.
Everybody, yeah. Let's take out the whole fucking league while we're here.
But like you guys have said, the issue is, not that I'm excusing any of this stupidity. It's sort of like, where does the buck stop in terms of accountability? If the Phillies especially come out and have a lot of tests, I'd say even a handful of positive tests come back, then you're really looking at Manfred to say, is this enough? Are you just going to keep on just pretending everything's okay? Are you going to truck in 14, 15 just nobodies in cabs to get them to the damn game to just wear a uniform for no reason in front of no one?
Well, exactly. The Marlins have 11 players. 11 players. That's not nothing on a 30-man roster.
No, that's almost half. Even my math is going to have to figure that out. But the one thing about this, and I'm excited about this, if it keeps going like this, I have a chance to actually play Major League Baseball, so I'm pretty psyched about that.
It's your time, Greg.
My time finally arrived. I couldn't throw the ball from first base to the pitcher's mound, but whatever. Put me in a uniform, I'll stand out there. But yeah, the whole thing is just we talked about it, we've talked about it, and you see it happening now that it's not just one team, it's a domino effect. And we don't know how far that's gone so far.
I'd like to ask Mike how it feels to be in this scenario where your NHL is the Big Four organization that's got a glittering report, they're doing everything
really
right.
Weird. I'm not really used to this level of competence from them, and so I have to. I can only assume that this is just sheer luck, and that they've just. Other than that, I think the NBA seems to be doing pretty well too. Which I think might be actually an indication that the way to go, as Zach said, is probably the bubble. There is, of course, I should say it's going great now. Who knows? But yeah, you know what? Anything could fuck up. But right now, the NBA and the NHL, who are doing the bubble hub city thing, both of them seem to be doing all right. And baseball, is obviously, we've said this for a while, but baseball is kind of run by morons, it seems, or at least the Marlins are. But we've known that for a while. I don't know. The NHL being the league to be we've mostly got this underway is weird. You know what? Greg, you asked who wanted this. I gotta be honest. I was at a bar for opening night, right? And they had the Jays-Rays game on. And I noticed two things. One, the piped-in crowd noise made Tropicana Field sound far more alive than it ever actually has in. And two, I admit, like I was into it. I was watching the game. I want sports back. Now, obviously, I don't want sports back at the detriment to like the health and safety of everyone involved, which I think is the failing of baseball. But we're talking about like who wanted this. I'm excited for hockey, and I'm also kind of excited for basketball. So I'm gonna admit, right off the bat that if the Hub City thing works out, if the NBA and NHL can get through, these tournaments without any major outbreaks, then by all means go for it. I'm down. I'm excited.
Well, okay. Yeah, and like I think I saw you mention this on Facebook, Greg, where like the season started and it wasn't something that I was excited for because it's just so weird to be like, we should be 2/3 of the way through these seasons by now, and so when it comes back, you're like, oh, here it is, sports, okay, and so I wasn't like, oh my god, it's opening day, let's go, but it was like, it just felt nice to have regular ass sports on TV on regular times. Yes, it's weird without the fans and all that, but they're still playing the games. It's still normal stuff to talk about. Sunday, I spent my entire day watching Premier League soccer in the morning, MLB baseball during the day, and I felt great about it. And it was like this was nice. Now, like Mike said, when hockey comes back, the way the schedule works out, where you have these full days of games, I'm kind of stoked for that. Like,
it's going to be so fun. I'm down.
Out here on the West Coast, there will be hockey from 9 a.m. in the morning till about 10 o'clock at night, every single night, and I am not mad about that. I'm happy to have it. Do I understand that this is like tenuous, that could all go away in any second? Yes, and especially today after the Marlins thing, that's very obvious, but I'm happy to have some sort of normal thing to occupy my time where I'm not staring at the wall for 8 hours a day,
See, I was just going to say there's nothing wrong with wanting it back. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's fine. I just was curious as to how important it was. To me, you say you're staring at the wall, Zach. I'm out riding my bike all the time. So to me, it's like I'm not staring at the wall, so I'm okay.
I mean, the thing is like I'm kind of with Zach on this one. Like, this is like, just personally from my own personal experience, this is the time of the year where I don't have a lot going on. I'm a teacher. I'm in the middle of summer right now. Now, normally this would be
not preparing those online documents.
Oh God, I don't even know if I'm going to be in the classroom or online. Like, that's how
they haven't decided that yet.
No, why would they?
Haven't decided it here either.
No.
We did last week. Yeah.
No, we haven't decided anything. So I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing. But like, obviously, I'm taking precautions with coursework and getting online stuff prepared if need be. But that isn't going to occupy my time. And usually in the summer, I'd be traveling. I'd be going back home to visit family and friends. I'd, maybe take a trip. There's nowhere any of us could go. So, I mean, what could I do? I can't even go play hockey because the rink shut down because of, for safety precautions. And so just having sports back has been nice. Again, I would obviously, you don't want it back if it's going to infect a bunch of people, but it seems like hockey and basketball, at least now, have it figured out, and the Marlins isn't so much down to, baseball being at fault as much as it is just the Marlins are idiots.
The one guy on the board kind of, I don't know if maybe he was being, I would hope he was being sarcastic or what kind of point he was trying to make. He said something to the effect of like, baseball needs to be this like rallying point. Like this was today. This wasn't like a few weeks ago. This was today, like fresh off the news. And he said something, this is important. Like we need to rally around. It's like it's 9/11 or something. Like there's some sort of, I mean, I get it from a principle of like history. If you look back on at least recent history with sports, obviously there's several big examples and moments where major things in the real world have been, have reflected onto the sports field or in the arena. Like it adds something, there's definitely something to be said about that, or baseball with World War II, stuff like that. But like, I don't know if he necessarily understood, the irony of he used the word gather around. We all need to gather around this thing. It's like, no, we don't need to gather around anything. We need to spread apart. And this baseball thing is not, yes, it's symbolic. Sports returning says something to the power of normalcy and routine. And obviously it's a wonderful distraction when we're all cooped up at home. But like, this is not the baseball, at least with baseball right now, is not obviously in a way, it's not working in a way that's going to promote longevity, and even this like neutered season. So I don't see why people are so, and again, this speaks to a larger issue of the fetishization of sports in this country, and how people are like, I don't care if 20 players die, I got my baseball back. Like, at least, oh, thank God I got my baseball back. Like, really? That's, okay. Then.
I have the quote here if you want it. I won't mention his name because this isn't the Lounge Report and all that, but the point at this point is the point itself. I believe this country needs sports at this point. Okay, I think we've gotten the point part across.
Yeah, lots of points.
Yeah, right. It's a 3-point plan, apparently. No. We need something to gather around and be able to talk about without worrying that some bastard with too much time on his hands will ruin your life because reasons. Sports is that thing. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah,
I swear to God, I don't. It's like,
when
okay,
I read that, I read terrorism into that. Like I thought he meant like something like, we can't go worrying around if some, various person likely of color will ruin, will bomb us or something. It felt like a very, maybe he like accidentally pressed the wrong button in his time machine and fast forwarded to the wrong year, because it felt really abstract. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, that's it. I just, like I said, I don't really understand what that's even supposed to say. I don't know that anybody's worried about some bastard with too much time. I mean, I guess we should all be concerned about the nefarious bastard with too much time on his hands trying to ruin our life because reasons. That seems kind of vague to me, but okay, I suppose he's out there for everyone. But I really don't understand his point other than I want sports back and I don't know why, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But, the point being, as the point's been made point by this guy, I don't know what he means by that. But he's responding to someone who's to Andy, as a matter of fact, what's the point? But yeah, so I don't know. I just wanted to read it. There you go. I don't really have much else to say except I still don't know what the hell he's talking about. But okay,
that person is not alone in that sentiment. I mean, I feel like there's like we've all like we said, we've had moments like this. The other day, I watched highlights from one of the games on opening day or whatever, and I listened to part of a Cubs game on the radio in the garage, and I was like, God, finally, this is my slice of summer right here. I've got a baseball game on the radio, and I'm working in the garage and stuff. But I mean, those are like selfish things, those are luxuries that are just bits of flavor to life. But I feel like some people, when they don't have baseball or when they don't have their traditional sports, it's almost like they feel naked or weak. I don't know. It's one of those weird, it's a larger conversation about, as I said, this with people's obsession with sports and the health of that. And that's, unfortunately baseball is in the most prominent position right now. And again, this conversation just could be so redundant here in a week if they're just, because has anyone heard anything about? Because I know Manfred was supposed to speak tonight. I don't know if he just came out and said nothing.
He spoke on MLB Network. I saw the interview, but I wasn't listening to it because I was on here with us.
Okay.
If it's not something that's out there in the sphere, he probably didn't say anything of note, which is probably what you expect.
I know that Dan Patrick posted a clip from Manfred. I don't know when the interview was, but I'm going to guess it was before the season started, and asked him what would it take to make this whole thing fall apart. And now, don't quote me on this because I was kind of half paying attention, but I think he said if one or two teams go down. Well, here we are. So it's I watched a little bit of Dodgers Giants the other night, and it was cool to see baseball. But then they had the virtual fans in the background, and that really kind of worked for me. I kind of like that. Until somebody hit a ball to the outfield, I'm like, oh, that place is dead empty. But
I will say that of the things the teams are doing, I enjoy the cardboard cutouts.
That's
more
fun.
than empty seats. At least it looks like there's something there. The thing that was really bad, and I hope that we don't see again for the rest of the season, was Fox's on Saturday. Fox's national broadcast attempted to do like CGI fans in the stands.
Yeah,
just like
honestly,
that does not look good at all.
Honestly, I think this whole thing would be better if they just owned the fact that the stadiums are empty. Like, just go total like no fans, no fan sound. Like, it would be odd, but like it would. I feel like it would give it like some character. Like, it would give it kind of its own unique thing. Like we all know that nobody's there. So
not only that, Mike, but I don't think we're going to forget that no one's there and go, oh, this is just like regular. As I've said before, it's yes, it's a distraction, but it's also a reminder. And you're not fooling anybody. No one's going to get so caught up in the game. They're going to go, oh, I forgot there aren't fans here. So why are we doing this? With the fan thing. Let's just call it what it is. You want to put cardboard cutouts of your season tickets holders in the seats? That's fine. That's kind of cool. I get it. I wouldn't have paid for it like some of these people did, but okay. Did you guys know they had to pay to do that?
The Dodgers were charging $132 to get your cardboard face out there.
I would have been like, I just gave you how many thousands of dollars for a season I'm not going to get? Now you want me to pay for this on top of it?
Well,
fuck
and
them.
like the only people, I would assume the people directly behind the plate either paid more or were placed specifically there by the Dodgers or whoever. Because there's a bunch of them that, like, if you paid your money, great. No one's going to see that except for the players in the building because some of them just aren't on camera angles.
Right.
The A's were putting a bunch of weird shit in the stands behind the Angels dugout on opening day. It wasn't there the rest of the series. They had the Charlie O horse behind the Angels bullpen.
Nice.
Which was kind of funny. They have like stuffed animals out in left field. It's
no one's gonna beat the Korean sex dolls. Let's just be honest about it. That's just like never gonna top that.
Yeah.
Maybe we could borrow them. Like no, they're still playing probably. I don't know. I mean, I hate to see this happen because it's tough because Admiral pointed this out in the baseball thread, which I thought was a very good point. It's like there's a lot of these journalists that are kind of like rooting for this to go poorly. I wanted it to be a wild success, but I just didn't think it could be. You know what I mean? But like
I've seen that, and I don't get that either because here's the thing, and I think the majority of journalists are not rooting for this to fail because if it fails, well then your job is gone too. So as somebody that's in that seat myself, like not in the professional sense, following professional sports, but like when the schools around here were trying to negotiate when they were going to restart, all of my heart wanted them to come out and say, we're going to start like normal. We're going to do it like normal because then I would have my job back to normal and I would get to, do my job as I normally do it. And I would still have that job on a regular basis. Now it's like, okay, well, sports are pushed back all the way to December. It's like, all right, well, I can stretch these announcements and what teams are doing out for a couple weeks, but what do I do in September and October and November? And like, there's that. And then so I think it's the same with these professional guys. We're like, I think they're trying what I see in the majority of them is they're just trying to make sure to hold the leagues accountable that they are doing this the right way, that they are being as safe as possible, that they're doing all the precautions, and they're just trying to hold them to that, as the fourth estates, to keep them in line. They don't want this to fail. They want, I guarantee you they want it to work because if it doesn't, then they don't have any jobs. And it's one thing to be the writer at The Athletic where that's like all they do and they can still probably exist. But if you're at even a major newspaper, if it comes out and says, hey, you know what? Sports are done until January. You think that a lot of these newspapers are going to keep those sports writers employed for 5 months when there's nothing going on?
No, and I saw, I'm going to tell you something else. This is going to be a byproduct you're going to see of this probably next year. But it didn't take long for teams to figure out we only need one video feed with 2 announcing crews. Frankly, I was surprised they hadn't done that already. I was really amazed to find out the teams are still using full production crews. So you're going to see, I don't know, let's say there's 30, 40 people per production crew times, was it Major League Baseball's 30 teams? So you're talking 1,200 jobs are going to disappear. No, that would be wrong. It would be like 600 jobs are going to disappear. Boop, gone. Because I promise you, these broadcast companies that figured out they can do this and can save $1 will save that $1 every single time. And that's what's going to happen. So it's just, there's a lot of things about this that, or that people don't even think about, like the far reaching impact that a lot of stuff's going to have. But yeah, they're going to figure out quick, like we only need one. The only problem with that is that you can't call your own reaction shots and stuff. So who knows? But I could see people losing jobs. But I see what you're saying, Zach. Like, yeah, you don't want it to fail because you need to work. And I don't know. I've lost my train of thought there. So somebody else pick it up and save me.
No,
here.
you got it. It's tough because I was even of the camp of like, just shut it down. Don't do any of this. And without even kind of thinking that, well, then that means that I'm not doing anything for months and months. So I don't know. I think reporters are trying, if I'm going to take the generous read on it, I guess, that they're all doing this to make sure that things are done properly and that they don't want it to fail. And they just, they're trying to make sure that everybody's safe ultimately.
Well, 386-385-8139. I just always wanted to do that. Sorry, guys. Go ahead.
That's all right. 386-385-8139. Call, leave us a voicemail. Deadline August 7th. If you want to be a part of the third ever Lounge Report on Basically a Sports Show, call in. Give us your hot take about the CCSLC happenings, and maybe, just maybe, if you're not a piece of shit, we'll get your take on the show.
There we go. Okay,
let's go to Robert in Omaha. Hello.
Hi, this is Robert in Omaha. I tell you what, I see this Black Lives Matter on the baseball.
All right, we're going to go to Jim in Rapids.
Hey, this is Jim. The last caller stole my thunder.
Let's go to Bartholomew in Brooklyn. What do you got?
Hey, this is Bartholomew in Brooklyn. Fuck yourself. And fuck your mothers, because I'm from Brooklyn, bitch.
All right, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna pause for station identification. This is basically a sports show on your Basically Sports Show Network.
We've just been canceled. Yeah, no, I was kind of this whole the whole take of get your politics out of my sports thing is I feel like if it wasn't for the pandemic, that would probably be the thing. The controversy to discuss is a lot of the players and coaches and everything wearing all and putting on the mound, stuff like that. But because of the Marlins and everything, it just feels like shut up. Who cares? Like we got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, I don't. I think that I think their hearts are in the right place. The leagues that are doing this, but I'm going to be an equal opportunity offender here. I didn't like it when they were deifying Pat Tillman and doing all the rah-rah America shit. I don't like this either. Not because I'm in disagreement with either one, just because it's like, you want to make it a distraction, make it a distraction and leave that stuff to where
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree
entirely. Of course you are, because you're a Canadian liberal, so of course, go ahead. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Look, the fact is that sports have never existed in a vacuum. You want to know why you want to know why people stand for the national anthem in Canada and the United States? Because
they're assholes.
No, because it was decided in World War I that people should stand for the national anthem, as to support the troops in the First World War, and that shit just kind of stuck around.
Can I say something here?
Yeah.
I wish the national anthem would go away too. So there you go.
But my point is that sports have never been this apolitical thing. All right, they've never just been like. Okay, I'm going to cut deep here. All right. Remember when Neil Gorsuch, current Supreme Court justice, when he was nominated by Trump for the Supreme Court, and he was being questioned by Congress before his confirmation, right? Well, John Elway, who knows Neil Gorsuch from Colorado, that's where Neil Gorsuch is from. John Elway, GM of the Denver Broncos, flat out, who was previously one of the let's keep politics out of our sports people from the Kaepernick ordeal, came out and wrote a letter on Denver Broncos stationery, a public letter urging senators to vote to confirm Neil Gorsuch.
Well, first off, as a Cleveland Browns fan, I'm contractually obligated to hate everything John Elway does. So there's that. But I'm not talking about, you want to write a letter on Broncos letterhead, that's fine. I'm not saying that one side or the other. I'm saying, like, look, if we can, let's just avoid it. I know you're right, Mike. I mean, of course you're right. It's never been in this vacuum where you can't get it in there. But I can see both sides of the argument. I can see the side from people going, it needs to be there. I can also see the side of the argument of people going, we don't want this. And I'm in the camp of, like, if you want to go on Twitter like LeBron did, or you want to go, every athlete, every single person involved has absolutely every right to say what they want to say. But can I just watch an NFL game without being recruited to join the Navy SEALs just once? Or can I watch well, I didn't see anything in baseball, so I can't really speak to that. I heard some stuff. I don't know if it's true or not, so I'm not even going to address it. But that's my point. It's like, let's just, let's make it about football. Let's make it about baseball. Let's make it about hockey and basketball. And if soccer wants to do something, that's fine too, I suppose. But you know what I mean? That's my point. Not like that I'm disagreeing with either side or either message, just that I just could do without all of it. I say get rid of all of it, period.
The question is, though, you say sports supposed to be for everyone. At what point do we stop this false dichotomy of, both sides?
Let me rephrase that before we get into a really deep part of the weeds here. I shouldn't have said both sides. I should have said regardless of message. We don't care what the fuck you're trying to say. Go say it somewhere else. That was my point.
Let me touch something a little bit closer to home for myself. A few years back, when there was the Tree of Life synagogue shooting in Pittsburgh, largest act of violence against Jews in the history of the United States. When the Pittsburgh Penguins wore a Star of David decal on the back of their helmets to memorialize the victims of the game afterwards, was that a problem? Did they not?
God damn it. I hate it when you fucking do this. You know what? You've got me. All right, fine.
I know, but I'm just saying, where is the line? Like, is there a grand arbiter who decides, well, no, this is fine, but this might, this is at what point
you're absolutely right. I'm conceding the point. Leave me alone. You're right. No, in all seriousness, Mike, in all seriousness, yes, you just turned me. You're absolutely right. That's an excellent point. I stand corrected. I don't know what I was thinking, but
listen, like this back and forth here is in some ways very healthy and often avoided.
Can I just point out to everybody listening right now? Did you see what just happened there? He had a discussion. And he brought up a good point, and I didn't go, fuck you, you asshole, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you know what? He's right. I'm painted into a corner here. I lose, and I'm willing to take the loss and go, you know what? I was talking out of my ass, and he's absolutely right. So there you go.
Look, Greg, I will say I understand the sentiment that you're coming from. I honestly really do, but I'm just saying it gets, like, once you start thinking about it, it's like, well, okay, where are the lines? Like, what's the, right. Like, are memorials okay? Because, like, I agree with you, because, like, and I know I'm not trying to argue the point for it. I'm just kind of just, like, continuing the train of thought. It's like, well, you could then say, okay, well, memorials are okay, because, that's not a political statement. That's just, memorializing someone. But then we get into, like you brought up earlier, Greg, the Pat Tillman stuff. That was technically a memorial for, just a guy who lost his life, but it then took on a life of its own and became something completely different than just a R.I.P. Pat Tillman. So this shit is tricky, and it's hard to draw the line.
It really is. When you brought up the line, I thought about it. I said, well, when there's a body count, I'm like, well, that can't be the line. Come on. Well, and I realized, no, and I saw the fallacy in my argument, and I went, I'm wrong here. I'm simply wrong. And you're right. It's never been in a vacuum. And I was just thinking, if you get rid of all of it, you really can't, because you can't. Pittsburgh cannot not acknowledge what happened in that synagogue. You can't do that. You just can't. And Minneapolis cannot. If I don't know, are the Twins even playing it? But whatever. You can't.
Been infected yet? I don't know.
But you can't not acknowledge what happened to George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the Arizona Cardinals couldn't not acknowledge what happened to Pat Tillman. So it's all of a sudden I went, well, yeah, I'm just, I wish there was in here that like it is going to, yes, it will get rid of like broad stuff that maybe none of us want, but it also gets rid of the cool stuff, and that I'm not cool with that. I'm not good with that.
The only thing that I would say where I think I'm comfortable drawing a line is, and you brought this up earlier, Greg, is like, you want to watch an NFL game without feeling like you're being recruited into the Navy SEALs.
Right.
And I think that, I'd be comfortable with, getting rid of that stuff, just because a few years back it was revealed that all of this, the NFL supports the troops stuff was like being actively paid for and promoted by the Department of Defense. And so like, it's like, if someone passes away, or if there's a tragedy in your community and you want to memorialize it, or if there's a cause that's near and dear to, maybe a lot of players that are on your team and you want to support that, then by all means. But like, I think the line is like when you've actually got, outside forces like paying you to do, basically astroturf causes, then I think that's probably where it should be.
But there's a lot of people that dig that shit. So, do you and I draw that line? Because I'm with you. I'm like, I don't need it. But, to be fair, right, wrong, or indifferent, they love it. It's rah-rah. I'm willing to. I think there's a compromise on the military stuff, which is, you want to run the commercials, you want to do the flyovers with the jets during the national anthem, go with it. But can we stop, making camo sideline gear, because it's just dumb. For the love of God!
Because it's like I don't want to fucking look. Is Sean McVay a good football coach? Yeah. I don't need to see him like dressed up in a camo Rams sweater that looks like an army flak jacket,
Fires me up, brother.
This conversation goes back to like one of the first times we talked like on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were discussing this shit back like long time ago. Even what was the Kellen Winslow Jr. That I'm a fucking soldier.
I'm a soldier.
Oh God!
Like to where we kind of scolded the football culture for essentially like looking at themselves like they're these troopers on the front line of combat, like going to war and all this shit.
I'm with Greg insofar as I think the only team that can wear camo uniforms or apparel are like the teams for the military academies. Like these are actual soldiers, so they can wear it.
Well, and let's be honest about it. No one, when you put Sean McVay in a camo sweatshirt, nobody's going, you know what? That guy, he could coach the Rams and he could lead a SEAL team in and kill Bin Laden too, probably. No one's thinking that.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, I do.
Yeah, well, of course Rams fans do, but otherwise.
Zach, he couldn't even stop a hobbled Tom Brady. What are the chances that he's getting?
Ooh. I mean, Mike, I just got to stop and give Mike props because Zach has taken so many shots at the Maple Leafs, and Mike just fired back with like a kill shot.
I don't take many shots, but when I do, there.
Mike with the kill shot right there.
The defense did a fine job in that game.
Oh, whatever. You still lost, bro.
Yeah, I know.
386-385-8139 is your number for basically a Lounge Report 3.
If you just want to call us to tell us to go fuck ourselves, you can do that too.
I mean,
we're going to get plenty of that, I'm sure.
I said it on the boards, and I'll say it here again. I hope to God the Admiral just leaves a small, mysterious message, even if it's not even like an English word or sentence. It's just like blurb, 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 and then hangs up. I'm fine with that.
He just reads a small passage from medieval French poetry and hangs up.
Yeah, he doesn't even say who he is.
Best thing ever.
And that's the thing. He's like, we would know that it was him, and only us.
And here's the deal. I'll even go this far. If he wants to do it, we will know who it is. We won't say. We will know, but we won't say it's him.
Right.
So we will be
I'm down
complete
with
anonymity. Yeah, fuck it. You know what I'm trying to say. Anonymity. There we go.
There you go.
To quickly recap, basically Lounge Report 3 is all about the boards, guys. It's not, you don't have to worry about, it's not like Ask Us Anything. That's a completely different animal. This is if you want to talk about a thread, a post, stuff about the boards, ask us questions like as moderators or as other members, blah, blah, blah,
who
blah.
you like to have a beer with, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, please don't do that. But because that was what really kind of sent basically Lounge Report 2 right off the rails, was that someone asked who we'd like to have a beer with, and we didn't mention one person, and he ended up quitting.
Well, no, the problem there was that I wasn't expecting the question, and, it was just asked, and I just named people off the top of my head. It was like just spurred.
Right.
Who am I thinking of right now?
It's a shit question to begin with.
Well, but let's be honest about it. I mean, I'm sure he's a fine person and all that, but I don't know that if I'd give me an hour, I would have thought of him. Sorry. No knock on you, dude. It's just that's not how I see you. That's all.
And I mean, the whole event, it's been so long since we did the last one anyway. Like I posited earlier, I can barely remember the second one. Barely. Like I don't even hardly, all I remember is like Greg said, is like after we were done, we're like, we're never fucking doing that again. Like that was nightmare. But like the first one was so much fun, man. Like the first one was a total
awesome.
Blast. Yeah, like that was a keystone moment for, not to toot our own horn or anything, but that was like a big, for me, like a CCSLC thing, because it was just a home run. Like everybody had a good time. There was positive feeling. And I don't know if I don't remember the context of the second one to tell you. All I knew, the only reason I know it was around the holidays is because I remember the logo was in a Christmas ornament or something like that. And I just remember like the O of Lounge Report was a Christmas ornament and some design I did for it. That's it. That's all I remember really about the context of that thing. But
I know we had trouble with phone calls. I remember that.
Yeah.
And the few people that got through, it didn't go real well. But the first one was great. We had, and what I think was just the perfect CCSLC moment when he was still a member there. Tank was our first phone call. So, of course. Yeah. And then we had Buck, who was awesome. Rams 80 called in. Dennis, LMU called in.
Again, if Buck ever wants to just take over the show, we'll let him.
Yeah.
It's available.
Yeah.
But this will also, it's going to be a lot of first time, a lot of posters who've kind of gained a lot of traction or.
Right.
Well, you may never even have heard of the original Lounge Reports, and we may have to explain that a little bit, as we dive in, or especially Greg will. I was not around back for those. That was like 2007.
Well, the original Audrey from accounting and all that stuff, or from human that.
All I know is that the original Lounge Reports were in that robotic voice. I don't know if that was her or what, but yeah. But so that'll be fun. So yeah, 386-385-8139. Call and give us your thoughts about the board. But I want to get the Basically a Sports Show round table on the Seattle Kraken logo that came out, premiered to much aplomb, and is apparently, if you read the comments of the board, it is probably the greatest logo in Jersey ever conceptualized.
By man.
Would you guys not agree? Yeah, no.
You suck it, Canadians, Blackhawks, you scrub lords. Go fuck yourselves.
I'm not sure this jersey, Mike, is so good. I'm not sure it was designed by man. It may be divine, or it could possibly be these new UFOs that we discovered are real.
I believe what happened was Jesus Christ himself descended from the heavens and paid Adidas a visit and was like, my children.
Yeah. This whole thing was immaculate conception. The jersey just came into being.
It's just the designers showed up at the office one day and it was there smelling
there.
Smelling
they went
of
to the
flowers.
shores of the Puget Sound, and a kraken rose up out of the waters and spat out this.
Make a jersey for me.
Cthulhu himself. Okay, so look, the logo is fine. The colors I think are great, and I think the jersey's really good.
Hey,
the name is stupid.
I gotta give Seattle credit for having the bravery to go with a Navy jersey. That's
that was wow. What What do they call that? I mean, the box sports
a
thing,
team
right?
in the NHL went with blue, huh? So that's
Yeah, that was.
It's
bold
icy
choice.
blue and boundless
bold
blue.
choice.
it looks like the same. It looks like the same blue the Jets wear.
No, Mike.
Oh, wrong. Yeah.
This is the same color as Puget Sound. It can't be the color of the Jets.
It's what?
I thought you meant that puke green was the same color as Puget Sound, so the blue's supposed to be.
Look. I will say this about the color scheme. In all honesty, I am really glad that they didn't go with green, because enough of the fucking green with Seattle. Like there were people in that thread in the lead up who's like, they could go with green and royal blue, and they could just have green as the dominant color, and it's different enough from the Canucks. And it's like,
That's
look,
different.
this team is going to be the geographical rival of the Vancouver Canucks. There is no way in hell they should even come close to sniffing the Canucks color scheme. So I like the navy blue is really kind of uninspired. It kind of looks like the Jets color scheme. But with all that being said, I do like that within the context of the in the context of the Seattle Vancouver dichotomy, they at least have their own look, so that's nice. That's the praise that I've got.
I'm glad.
I'm glad
it's
don't
not
look like the Canucks.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not green and blue, and I'm glad because initially when the Seattle group kind of put out their NHL 2 Seattle branding, it was red and black, which I'm glad we don't, because there's already way too many red and black teams in the NHL as it is. So at least this is like, yes, double blue on its own. Double blue with a splash of red is essentially, on paper, what the Jets do. But I don't think that when the two play each other, you're going to be like, well, who's the Kraken and who's the Jets? My God, I don't know. I like the colors. I like the jersey's fine. The thing that I have with the jersey is the striping pattern is starting to get a little too familiar, because it looks almost to a T what the Golden Knights use.
Which is already a lot like what the Penguins use.
Which is already a lot like what the Ducks' third jerseys look like.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting a lot of. I know there's only so many ways to stripe a hockey jersey.
Right, yeah.
But, a little too close in design releases.
Another thing that I wanted to point out is that I think that they might actually be like, I think this might actually be done by the same person who did the Golden Knights logo, because I'm seeing a lot of thematic similarities. Both, have elements of the team name worked into a letter representing the locale, S for Seattle, V for Vegas. Which kind of comes along to the point that anytime in, like, say, the concepts subforum, right, where someone goes, I'm going to redesign an entire league, and, it might actually all look good. It might actually be like a good looking set, but because it's the same designer, everything kind of has a samey feel to it, which I think is the problem here.
Can I talk about the S for a second?
The Old English S, yes.
I would like to read some Adidas speak if I can.
Oh, lovely.
The shape of our history. Our history is in the Great Ice Game. In the Great Ice Game, goes as deep as Puget Sound. Yeah. The Seattle Metropolitans were the first American club to hoist the Stanley Cup. They are an eternal part of our city's history, and we pay tribute to them by wearing the S.
I'll give them $100. Every person you go into in Seattle that says, I know who the Seattle Metropolitans are, I'll give them $100 right now.
Not only that,
and then
if you wanted to honor them, if you wanted to honor the Metropolitans, why aren't you the Seattle Metropolitans?
Well, do you know, there is a story to that.
Okay.
Metropolitans was like the initially they wanted to try to go with Metropolitans. But do you want to take a guess as to why they're not the Metropolitans?
Because of the stupid Metropolitan Division.
Because the Metropolitan Division exists, and Gary Bettman said no. Nobody needs to tell Gary Bettman that the Washington Nationals of the National League won the World Series this year, but we'll forget that part, I guess.
Fuck you, Gary Bettman, and fuck this alliance. I hate fuck. I'm sorry, Zach. Continue.
Zach, you had more. I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this Adidas. You're getting me here. I feel the depth and artness to the brand.
we're going to continue.
I'm not talking because I've got tears running down my face. It's so moving.
Continuing with the S, as you notice, I don't know if you saw, guys, but hidden in the shadows, a stealthy single tentacle stealthily rises from below.
Oh, I know.
Symbolizing the deep, dark waters of Puget Sound. How many are there? How deep do they go? The real peril lies in what you don't see.
Okay, so I noticed the tentacle because that is at the root of my problem with all this, but I will get to that in due time. But yes, I noticed the tentacle, Adidas.
That's kind of obvious.
That should be like their 2020, like their debut season slogan. Seattle Kraken. I noticed the tentacle.
You know what? If they wanted to go, if they just went full like Japanese tentacle porn, I'd respect them.
Well, it'd be funny.
Also,
sure.
I don't know if you saw in the S2. There's a red eye in there.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Eye of the Beast.
Hold on.
People think they're playing with here. Come on now.
If you've seen it, it's already too late. The eye of the Kraken has become affixed on its prey for some time. Its strike will be swift and devastating. Its opposition overwhelmed and unwary. It will all be over soon.
I got to make a confession to you guys. I'm dead because I looked at the eye of the Kraken, and the Kraken burst out of the deep, and it killed me. So I'm actually.
You want to know what? I know that the dude is like an old bigot, but god damn it, I want to hear Don Cherry's take on this.
But we're not done. Because if you continue to look at the S, you'll see the beveling that looks on there, the different colors, the shading.
Yeah.
Well, this S, my friends, is carved from the sea.
Oh, whoa, wait.
Carve the sea. The sea is water. You can't carve water.
Seattle is a city built by the sea.
So wait a minute. Hold on, I need a minute. So it's carved from the sea, and the word sea is in the word Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Which starts with an S.
Carved from the sea. Seattle is a city built by the sea. Our forebears' hands are cracked in the cold, salty air that they reeled in lines and wrought their ships. The clean bevel of a freshly carved vessel is a reminder of where we come from. A noble city built on the waters by bold and hardened adventurers.
Okay, Adidas, calm the fuck down, because ain't nobody in Seattle, rolling in nets with sea-cracked hands. Isn't the whole city basically white-collar Amazon employees at this point?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
But hey, there's Pike's Market, which, by the way, for a goddamn fact that they're going to try to one-up the Golden Knights in every single game. They're going to have one of those Pike's Market fishermen throw a fish on the ice from the second deck. You know that's happening.
Oh, God. As much as I hate the Red Wings, can they, fucking sue them for copyright infringement? I'm sorry.
Well, the Predators already throw the catfish, so why not throw a salmon on the ice?
Oh, so what used to be a cool, unique thing Detroit did is now just what every trendy bullshit team does now. Okay, that's nice.
Shouldn't Nashville be throwing some? I mean, catfish, I guess, kind of works, but I think it'd be funny if they threw biscuits and gravy or some shit. That'd be better. Adidas. I think that Nike could be outdone here, but that's all the
Adidas speak I have on the logo itself. I would like to read the color names if I could.
Oh, okay.
Well, the navy blue that, as they mentioned several times on the launch day, it's so navy it's almost black. Is deep sea blue.
Okay.
It's the same blue the Jets wear.
That bright blue, the bright blue is called ice blue. There's the other blue in the logo, the kind of shaded part is called shadow blue. That third slightly darker blue stripe that's on the jersey, that's known as boundless blue.
They were really up all night with these, weren't they?
And then the red, the little bit of red that's in there is red alert.
Oh, it's just that would have been great if it just been
like flavor.
It's Code Red.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, that's Code Red. Never mind.
Close.
It would have been better if they just said, and the red is just red.
The red remains unchanged.
So wait, they're called. Okay, I guess it is kind of blue, depending if you put it over the the same color that the Jets wear, blue. It does look blue, but like on some of the stuff that what did they call it, Zach? The light blue color?
Ice blue.
The ice blue looks an awful lot like 70s every kitchen in suburbia green is what it looks like, kind of.
I can see that. It's a little off, but depends on whatever.
You know, it's funny. When I looked at this the first time, I looked at it on my laptop, and I'm like, that's puke green. And now looking at it on my desktop, I'm going, well, all right, that's not so bad. All right, never mind. But yeah.
No, I see what you mean. It does kind of like harken to the like KitchenAid,
yeah,
whatever, those stand mixers or whatever. Yeah, I don't really know how to feel about this whole thing. I think that it's not a terrible design. It could be a lot worse. And I mean, obviously with Zach reading off there, that's typical. But I think maybe people just had their expectations so low that this was a pleasant surprise. But I will say, usually when these are unveiled, we get some sort of video where we see, in the background, some sort of, concepts or names that weren't used. The minds behind this franchise have wisely taken all the names and old stuff from the conception part of this, creating the Kraken, and they put it into a time capsule that won't be opened until 2062. So we can't give them shit for another 40 years.
For the better idea that was obviously on the board.
So for the
40 years they're going to be like, oh, the Seattle Sockeyes. It's like, God damn it.
We'll be, a bunch of the 8,000th episode of basically a sports show will be, God damn it, they've left.
We'll all be brains and fucking jars by that point, just communicating via beeps. Catch basically a sports show on the Chris Kramer Hollow net.
If we were doing a hockey jersey ranking, this would fall somewhere in the middle, probably, maybe towards the bottom. I'm just not. I know a lot of people hate the name, love the look. I'm kind of I don't like the name, and the jersey itself, it's okay.
So my point is I despise the name. I'm going to get into why I despise the name soon. But the identity itself, I think it's good. The Navy, again, I'm kind of two minds. It's a bit overplayed, but at the same time, I'm glad they're not green. All in all, I like the identity. The problem is I hate the name, and I hate it with a passion.
Yeah.
It is memey as shit. This exists because Liam Neeson once said, "Release the Kraken." That is the only reason. It's
ridiculous. It's we talked about this a little bit when we did the XFL stuff.
Mm-hmm.
With the same Seattle team, Dragons. You think, well, Dragons, that's fine enough to be a professional team name, but you say it out loud and it sounds kind of dumb. That's what I think. This is. Dragons is kind of tame compared to Kraken, which I hate it for two reasons. I hate it because it sounds ridiculous. Tonight, it's the Anaheim Ducks are in Seattle to take on the Kraken. It sounds stupid.
Can you imagine?
The Kraken are on the power play. Oh, that's 3 goals on 4 shots tonight for the Kraken.
Can you imagine what's going to happen? The Montreal Canadiens versus the Seattle Kraken.
Yeah.
Tonight, live from Madison Square Garden, the Rangers entertained the Kraken.
The good thing for the Kraken is that they're not the dumbest singular team name in the NHL.
Well, the Wild exists.
The Wild will always beat them on that. But this is pretty damn close. I hate singular team nicknames. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
So
as somebody that thinks about it in terms of somebody that would have to write a story about a player. Is each player a Kraken? Are they collectively the Kraken? Are each of them a tentacle? Is it the Kraken are or the Kraken is? Are the Kraken are 4 and 5 in their last games?
Or the
10 games?
Yeah.
Or the Kraken is? It adds all this unnecessary complexity to something that for generations has been pretty goddamn simple.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Yes, technically speaking, if you go into the dictionary, it will tell you that one of the plural forms of Kraken is Kraken. But it also says Krakens is fine.
Yes.
The only reason that it is the Seattle Kraken is because of the meme. Liam Neeson doesn't say release the Krakens. He says release the Kraken. And so, they're the Kraken. Here we are.
Yeah, anyone who's saying that this team is not named because of that meme is fooling themselves.
Correct.
The Liam Neeson said release the Kraken. It became a popular clip to play on YouTube and to laugh at. And that's where we are. And they're going to play this every single fucking game until the heat death of the universe. And it's going to get old after 2 seasons. And you want to know what's going to happen? In 10 years, in 10 fucking years, which is going to be, 1/4 of the way through their stupid fucking time capsule, they're going to go like 10 years down the road when the new car smell's worn off, when, the novelty's gone and everyone's tired of the release the Kraken jokes. They're going to be like, God fucking damn it. We should have just been the Evergreens or
Here's my hope for that part of it. As a fan of a team that is essentially based on a 90s version of a meme, the Mighty Ducks, for a couple of years when we started, everyone in the crowd would try to do the quack, quack, quack chant. Because that's what they did in the movies, and we're the Mighty Ducks. So, and occasionally you still get people that ironically try to do it now, and it's kids that grew up with the movies, so they're trying to do it endearingly, but it's still stupid. And then my point is that stuff started at the beginning because, it's fun. And then it faded away because we all realized, that's actually pretty dumb. That's my hope for anything involving release the Kraken, that it will be a thing for a year, 2, and then people, every time when they come out on the ice, they go, release the Kraken, and then it's like, release the Kraken.
Also, it's worth noting, and we talked about this off mic, but for people who are trying to insist that this team was not named after the meme, they have merchandise out there that says release the Kraken in big bold letters across it. So
it's literally the only merchandise you can purchase right now.
Mm-hmm.
It says release the Kraken across the front of the t-shirt and the ad.
Now I'm with Zach in that I feel the name is a meme joke, and it's going to probably hold the team back and give them something of an identity crisis in a decade and a half. Because like Zach, I'm a fan of a team with a 90s meme name, the Toronto Raptors. Right. Mm-hmm. And it took winning an NBA championship for people to finally stop wanting them to change the name. So there's that. But if I may indulge in a bit of my historical academia nerdiness as to another reason why I hate this name. Zach, you mentioned in the beautiful Adidas write-up that this logo does in fact have a tentacle.
Yeah.
All right. Now the Kraken is actually
depends on what you want to define a Kraken as.
The Kraken is from Norse mythology. It is a creature from Norse mythology, and it is actually not a squid or octopus. Here is the quote. The Kraken existed in oral history for hundreds of years in Scandinavia, but it was first written down in 1250 by an anonymous author of a book called the Konungas Skagorja, which translates to the King's Mirror. It is a book on natural history from Norway in 1250, and again written by an anonymous author, and he is writing about the Kraken that allegedly lives off the coast of Greenland. So, allow me to quote. There is a fish that is still unmentioned, which is scarcely advisable to speak about on account of its size, because it will seem to most people incredible. There are only a few who can speak upon it clearly, because it is seldom near land, nor appears where it might be seen by fishermen, and I suppose there are not many sorts of fish in the sea. Most of our tongue call it kraken. Nor can I conclusively speak about its length, because at times it has been shown before men, it has appeared like an island rather than a fish. So I wanna stress that in the oldest recorded instance of a kraken that we have, it is described as a fish. It's not a squid or an octopus. It doesn't have tentacles. It's just a fish that is said to be big enough that you could mistake it for an island.
And the other, like what you're all pointing out, Mike, all true. And of course, all of these are from the North Atlantic.
Yes.
Not where Seattle is.
No.
But and what they're using to justify it is that supposedly in Puget Sound, the giant Pacific octopus or giant Pacific squid live.
Hey, speaking of the giant Pacific octopus, whatever happened to him?
Yeah,
you'd think this would be the prime time for him to reemerge.
he got so tired of arguing with me about the Mighty Ducks being a cartoon logo.
Also, was he perhaps terrified that Admiral was going to follow through on his threat and take him to a Red Wings game?
Yeah. It's just the local connections are tenuous. And look, there were plenty of other local good names to go with. Now, one is probably eliminated because of recent days. For a long time, people wanted to say, "Hey, what about Seattle Totems?" It has a long history as a hockey team in the area and all that, but I think they probably have a lot of trouble if they were trying to name a team Totems in.
Probably best to stay away from native imagery in the current climate. Yeah,
the ones that stood out to me in recent days or in the recent months were Sockeyes and Evergreens. I thought was really good.
I liked both of those. Both of those would have been perfectly fine.
Have you guys ever seen what a sockeye salmon looks like?
They're hideous, but I mean, whatever. It's cool.
The name's cool, but man, that is one ugly fish. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but would you want to fight that fish?
Well, I don't know, but he eats pretty good though.
I'm reading through. This is a cardinal sin I'm doing. Is I'm on the Seattle Times website, their sports section, reading through the comments for the article about unveiling the name. And this was on July 23rd. And the comments are great. Pretty much all of them are very enthusiastic. Most of them are very enthusiastic about the idea of calling themselves crackheads, calling the arena the crack den, the crack house.
Yeah.
But then, of course, we have. I just want to say there's the second leading comment is probably Trump 2020. So that's. I'm glad the comments are staying on point here on the Seattle Times website.
What the fuck that's got to do with anything, but okay.
Seattle announces a hockey team name.
Trump 2020.
2020, yeah.
Just got me laughing. Oh, okay. Other people saying, like, this is bullshit. I've never seen a Kraken around here. They can't call it that. I've never seen one.
Well, okay, so
seen one. Have they? I'm just going to say that if they had any guts at all.
The Kraken is a mythological figure. Of course you've never seen one. God.
I would say if they had any guts at all, they would go with the original release of Kraken from Clash of the Titans in 1981.
What, you mean that's the one that stop motion one?
Yeah, the one that looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon with 3 arms. Yes, that one.
Well, here's why you got to embrace the silly, because if you come out there and you're like, we are the badass Seattle fucking Kraken, and you have the big CG monster come out of the water, and it's fuck, like look at that thing, it's huge and awesome, and then you lose 11-0 to a shit
to like
squad.
The fucking Avalanche or something.
It's like, people are going to be they're going to sour on this, like, posture, we're just like a mean, mysterious monster, and then you just get fucking stomped. Then the people are going to be like, I don't want to be associated with that shit anymore because it didn't have dignity in the first place, and now you're trying to hype it up as this like the team is just going to absorb the branding, like, oh yeah, each of our players is going to be like this mysterious, like, salty sailor person that like can haul anchors around and shit. Like, no, they're just human beings, and you guys are going to go out and get your fucking ass kicked. So
look, I'm going to say the Kraken, the original Kraken, was probably a myth born from sighting whales before we as a species knew what whales were.
Right.
So you have a bunch of Vikings out on the ocean. They see this big fucking whale, like, holy shit, that's a big fish. starts the Kraken myth. Then in the 18th century, what happened, and we can point to like the exact fucking person, Eric Pontoppidan, who what he did was he wrote a book in 1752, and he took the Kraken myth and he took the unrelated myth of giant squids and octopuses or octopusi, and he conflated the two. So that's how the Kraken went from being a giant fish to a squid or an
squid
octopus.
Yeah.
Is that where we got the Hydra logo?
No, the Hydra is a Greek thing.
Oh, okay.
But the point is that this name, aside from being memey as all hell, to me at least, is a bit too far removed from the actual origin of the myth for me to like it. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, look, I studied Scandinavian history. Like, I studied a lot of the shit in university. I have a lot of fondness for this history and this mythology. I like it a lot. And the reason why I don't like it, why I don't like this name, is because I know what the original Kraken was, and this ain't it. You're too far removed on too many fronts where it's like, fuck your meme name, man. Like, that's kind of just where I'm at.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear about the calling it the crack house. That's funny.
Yeah, crack
And
house.
they're crackheads.
It's inevitable. I mean, there's no.
Right.
They'll probably have some really weak, come out there with like, it's the, we're friends of the squid or some bullshit name, and people are like, no, we're the crackheads at the crack house.
Yeah, no, and people already were getting some crap from the woke side of Twitter that were like, hey, drug abuse is an issue in this country and it affects, black men at this percentage, blah, blah, and like, yeah, we know we're trying to joke, but like, that even if the team doesn't do that, what Canucks fans are going to call them?
Crackheads.
What Sharks fans are going to call them? Crackheads. Like, the team can do whatever it wants to not call them that. There's still legions of Ducks and Kings fans or Ducks and Sharks fans that call the Kings the Queens. Like, it's what happens. So
welcome to sports.
And you said, and there's there's going to be some clumsy attempts at like ass cracks. It's just the things write themselves.
Like, all you need to do is like go into the CCSLC, annual NFL season thread, right? And just start looking for NFC East fans who are like, fuck it, like the Cowgirls.
Yeah. The clowns, the hams or whatever they, all that stuff. It's ridiculous, but
the butt cracks.
Yeah, the butt cracks. Ass cracks.
The Kraken lost 3-1 the other night. More like ass cracks, right, guys?
Well, right, yeah. Come on. Yeah, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, but 386-385-8139. Call in, leave a voicemail. Deadline is August 7th. You, if you're a member of the CCSLC and you want to, obviously, if you just sign up today and you're like, hey, I just signed up today, I just heard the number. It's like, no, it doesn't really help. You're not going to enjoy the show. But I'm looking forward to seeing what people have to say and, just kind of seeing what the flavor overall is when people start chiming in. And yeah, at the very least, it'll be a nice time for us to sit around for a couple hours and just kind of
bullshit.
Yeah,
just kind of shit that, yeah.
We should reiterate that this is all about the boards, guys. This is not an Ask Us Anything. It's about the boards. If you've got a complaint, you want to talk about a thread, a subsection of the boards, the lounge, sports logos, whatever. It's boards centric. So you can, I don't know, Mike, how we're going to handle if like somebody wants to call in and bash somebody. I guess we just got to let it go because it's off site. So that's the way it works.
Yeah.
But you want to talk about moderations, fantasy sports, whatever. It's all boards all the time. Just want to make that clear. It's not ask us anything. It's about the boards. Whatever you want to talk about the boards, send it in and we will address it. So that should hopefully clear that up a little bit.
And that'll be on when? August 12th? August 10th?
Yeah, the show will record on August 10th. And well, unless I have another moment like I had last week where I edited the show on Tuesday and completely fucking forgot about it until last night, it should be up in a day or two after that. So
I was wondering. I was worried about you. I was about to text you the other night. I was like, damn, it's like
I was sitting here yesterday. I went, did I post that? I'm like, God, I don't think I did. I'm like, nope. I'm just sitting there. The program was still open, like just sitting there waiting for me to like go, hey, you want to make this thing or what? So yeah, that was on me. Something came up. Somebody probably called me or something, and I walked off, and that was it. But anyway, we got to wrap it up, folks. So again, give them the number one more time, Andy.
It's 386-385-8139. If you call it, it'll say the Google Voice subscriber.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
Just leave a voicemail. That's all it is. It's a voicemail service. Leave a message. Tell us who you are on the forum. Preferably, please tell us. I mean, unless you're the Admiral. If you're the Admiral, we'll do complete anonymity. Do or say whatever you want in that regard. But everyone else, please identify yourselves because we probably won't know your voice. And, like Greg said, just keep it meta. And we will sort through those messages and enjoy listening to them on the night we record.
All right. And with that, follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Spreaker, the YouTubes, and wherever else fine podcasting is sold. We will see you next time. Stay safe, everybody.
See ya.
So there.